Have you ever felt anxiety hit so fast that it seems like your whole body changes in seconds? One moment, everything feels normal. The next moment, your chest gets tight, your thoughts start racing, your breathing feels wrong. And suddenly, a simple moment feels heavy, scary, and out of control. That is what makes anxiety so frightening. It does not always wait for a real problem. Sometimes it creates the feeling of danger first, and then forces you to believe something must be wrong. And in that moment, most people make one mistake that quietly makes anxiety worse. They fight it. They panic about the panic. They try to force it away, and without realizing it, they give the feeling even more power. But here is the good news. You do not need a complicated method to calm anxiety fast. You just need a few simple tricks that tell your mind and body, you are safe. Slow down. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 simple tricks to calm anxiety fast. And the last one is especially important, so do not miss it. Because if you miss that one, you may keep doing the exact thing that secretly keeps anxiety alive longer than it needs to be. By the end of this video, you will know what to do when anxiety suddenly rises, how to calm yourself without feeling helpless, and how to get back in control much faster. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is this. When anxiety shows up, it does not only affect your thoughts, it affects your whole system. That is why it feels so real. Your body gets tense, your brain starts scanning for danger, your attention narrows, and everything feels bigger than it really is. So when anxiety hits, your goal is not to argue with your mind. Your goal is to send your system a different signal. And that brings us to the first trick. Trick number 1. Slow your breathing on purpose. This sounds simple, but it works because anxiety and breathing are deeply connected. When people get anxious, their breathing often becomes short, fast, and shallow. That tells the body something is wrong. And then the body sends even more panic back to the brain. Now the cycle is feeding itself. But when you slow your breathing, you interrupt that cycle. Imagine someone sitting in a car before an important meeting. Their heart is racing, their hands feel tense, their mind is already predicting everything going badly. If they keep breathing fast, their anxiety keeps climbing. But if they slow down, breathe in gently, pause, and breathe out even more slowly, something starts changing. Their body begins to get a new message. Not run, not danger, but slow down. We are okay enough to breathe. That is powerful. You do not need a perfect breathing method. You just need to make your breath slower than your panic. That one shift can begin bringing your body down from high alert. And once the body starts calming down, the mind often follows. Now let's move to the second trick. Trick number 2. Ground yourself in what is real. Anxiety lives in what if. What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I cannot handle this? And the more your mind lives in those imagined futures, the more unsafe you feel. That is why grounding works so well. Grounding pulls you out of fear and back into reality. Not the reality anxiety is inventing, the reality that is actually happening right now. Imagine someone lying awake at night with their mind spinning out of control. Their thoughts are already in tomorrow, next week, and 10 different worst-case scenarios. But then they stop and ask, what is happening right now, in this exact moment? They notice the bed under them, the room around them, the air on their skin, the sound in the background, their feet, their hands, their breath. And suddenly, something changes. Their mind is no longer floating in imagined danger. It is coming back to the present. That is where calm starts returning. You can do this in simple ways. Look around and name a few things you can see. Notice a few sounds you can hear. Touch a table. Hold something cold. Press your feet into the floor. These small actions matter because anxiety pulls you into an imaginary future. Grounding brings you back into real life. And when you come back to what is real, anxiety often loses some of its power. Now, here comes the third trick, and this is the one many people miss. Trick number 3. Stop fighting the feeling. This is the big one, because a lot of anxiety does not become overwhelming because of the first wave. It becomes overwhelming because of the second reaction. You feel anxious, and then you get anxious about being anxious. This is bad. I need this to stop. Why is this happening? What if I lose control? Now the fear has doubled. The original feeling was one wave, but your resistance created a second wave on top of it. That is why fighting anxiety often makes it louder. Now, stopping the fight does not mean you enjoy it. It does not mean you want it there. And it does not mean you give up. It just means you stop adding extra fear to the fear. Imagine someone in a crowded place who suddenly feels anxiety rising. Their chest tightens, their heart jumps. Their first instinct is to think, "No, no, no, not now." But instead of fighting it, they tell themselves, "Okay, anxiety is here. I do not like it, but I can let this wave pass." That response is powerful because anxiety wants resistance. It wants panic. It wants you to treat the feeling like an emergency. When you stop doing that, you stop feeding it. And very often, the fastest way to calm anxiety is to stop treating the feeling itself like the enemy. So let's bring it all together. When anxiety hits, slow your breathing. Ground yourself in what is real, and stop fighting the feeling. These 3 tricks are simple, but they are powerful because they work with your mind and body instead of against them. After watching this video, you will be able to calm yourself faster, understand what anxiety is doing in the moment, and respond in a way that helps you feel safer and more in control. Remember this. Anxiety feels powerful, but it is not always telling the truth. Very often, it is just your system sounding a false alarm. And the moment you learn how to respond the right way, that alarm starts losing its power over you. You do not need to fear every anxious moment. You do not need to feel helpless when it shows up. And you do not need to keep getting dragged around by every wave. Sometimes peace starts with something small. One slower breath. One grounded moment. One decision not to fight. And that is how you begin taking your calm back.